Neuralink for Orgasm, Brain Chips Over Body. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11-time published author, and this is Sex Tech, the rise of artificial intimacy. Today, we are entering one of the most controversial and transhumanist corners of the sex tech landscape, brain-computer interfaces and the direct stimulation of pleasure through neural implants. What if sexual climax didn't require genitals? What if orgasm could be triggered with code, delivered to the brain, bypassing the body entirely? This isn't science fiction anymore. It's the next phase of synthetic intimacy, where devices like Neuralink and other less publicized competitors offer something once unimaginable: on-demand orgasm, controlled by a chip. Let's start with the neuroscience. The sensation of sexual climax originates not in the body, but in the brain, specifically the limbic system, the nucleus accumbens, and the hypothalamus. These regions process dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. They light up in response to touch, stimulation, arousal, and emotional bonding. But here's the catch. If you stimulate those regions directly, with the right electric current or signal, you can induce the physical and emotional sensations of orgasm without any physical interaction at all. No need for a partner, no need for touch, just a neural pulse, and it's done. This is the premise behind orgasmic neurostimulation, a growing area of experimental research combining brain chips, wearable electrodes, and AI-triggered pulse generators. Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain interface company, has already demonstrated that chips implanted in the brain can control a computer, play music, and even transmit visual data. But less known to the public is that other labs, often operating under military, clinical, or academic funding, are developing interfaces that stimulate pleasure centers of the brain. These are not being built for fun. They're being built for therapy, for control, and for testing the limits of biological programming. One of the most cited precedents is a 1972 experiment by Dr. Robert Heath at Tulane University. Heath implanted electrodes into the brains of psychiatric patients and discovered he could induce orgasmic-like pleasure by stimulating the septal area. One patient, referred to as B19, was allowed to self-administer the stimulation. He pressed the button over 1,500 times in a single session. This was half a century ago. Today, the tech is far more advanced, and the implications are far more disturbing. With the integration of modern BCIs, brain-computer interfaces, researchers can now map individual pleasure profiles. Imagine a neural headset that learns your personal climax threshold, your emotional triggers, your arousal pattern, and then feeds it back into your brain through closed-loop stimulation. Early versions of this already exist in clinical studies for treating sexual dysfunction, but the applications are expanding quickly, and not just in hospitals. Startups are working on wearable neuroorgasm devices, paired with apps and AI-driven feedback systems that let users climax using only thought or voice command. No touch, no partner, no effort. Now ask yourself, what happens when sexual pleasure becomes this frictionless? When the climax, one of the most powerful neurological events in the human body, can be summoned like a vending machine response? The answer is both profound and dangerous, because the orgasm is not just a biological reflex. It's a spiritual, emotional, and chemical reward meant to mark the conclusion of intimacy, connection, and union. But when it's triggered artificially, on command, in endless repetition, it begins to lose meaning, and the body begins to lose balance. This is not speculation. In rat studies involving pleasure center stimulation, subjects will choose electrical brain stimulation over food, water, or sleep. They will neglect survival needs to continue pressing the pleasure button. This raises the specter of a new form of addiction: climax without consequence, dopamine loops without connection, pleasure without people. What VR porn did to imagination, neural orgasm will do to embodiment. It will sever the body from the mind, making the body obsolete. Let's look at how this is already emerging in the tech space. Several companies are working on headsets that stimulate the scalp with transcranial magnetic or electrical stimulation. While marketed as tools for meditation, focus, or relaxation, some models have discovered side effects that include spontaneous sexual arousal or climax. Developers are now exploring how to refine these responses into precise, purchasable experiences. Imagine downloading a 30-second joyburst file, or subscribing to an orgasm service that pings your brain 3 times a day. This isn't speculative. Patents already exist. And then, there's the spiritual layer. Sexual energy, in almost every mystical tradition, is creative energy. It births life, yes, but it also births ideas, motivation, artistic expression, and spiritual evolution. When you orgasm, you release energy. That energy is meant to bind you to your partner, awaken the body, or open the consciousness. But what happens when that sacred energy is hijacked by a device? When orgasm becomes a form of neural entertainment, rather than a force of bonding or creation, you don't just risk overstimulation. You risk spiritual fragmentation, a loss of connection between pleasure and purpose. There is also the question of control. Once orgasm can be induced remotely, via chips or wearables, who controls the signal? Is it you, your phone, the AI interface? Could someone trigger it without your consent? Could a government, a partner, or a hacker hijack your climax system? Think that sounds far-fetched? In 2016, the first internet-connected sex toy was hacked during a live demonstration. The hacker was able to take full control of the device. That was just hardware. Now imagine a brain-connected device, syncing real-time arousal data to the cloud. The possibilities for abuse, surveillance, and manipulation are staggering. And it's not just hacking, it's ownership. If a tech company creates the device that stimulates your orgasm, do they own the data? Can they monetize your pleasure patterns? Can they manipulate your arousal triggers to sell products, reward behavior, or punish deviation? This is not conspiracy. It's behavioral economics, powered by biometric feedback. Already, fitness apps monetize heart rate. Sleep apps sell dream data. It's only a matter of time before arousal becomes a commodity, measured in brainwaves and sold to advertisers. We must also ask, what happens to intimacy when climax is decoupled from interaction? The rise of synthetic orgasm will reinforce what we've already seen with porn and AI companions, a generation increasingly disconnected from human touch. If climax becomes as easy as pressing a button or issuing a command, the incentive to bond, to court, to explore, to learn another person, disappears. Sex becomes a solitary activity, relationships become inefficient, and love becomes obsolete. The emotional consequences of this are already visible. Studies show that men under 30 are having less sex than any generation in recorded history. Anxiety, isolation, and depression are on the rise. And yet, demand for synthetic pleasure, VR porn, AI girlfriends, haptic sex toys is skyrocketing. We are replacing connection with stimulation. Neural climax will complete that cycle. It will give people the final illusion that they don't need others to feel whole. That climax is personal, programmable, and sovereign. But sovereignty without connection is just loneliness in disguise. Now let's look at long-term implications. If neural orgasm becomes normalized, we may see the rise of entirely post-sexual humans. People who never develop touch-based intimacy. Children raised on tech who bypass physical curiosity for neural satisfaction. Future generations who prefer direct stimulation to exploration, mystery, or vulnerability. And in doing so, they lose not just the body, but the emotional intelligence that comes with being inside one. This isn't just about sex. It's about the evolution of human pleasure. What we worship, we engineer. And right now, we are worshiping convenience, control, and gratification. We are building machines to bypass friction, failure, rejection, and in doing so, we are building a culture that can no longer tolerate the unpredictability of love. Neuralink-style climax won't stop with orgasms. It will expand to emotional highs, spiritual surges, confidence boosts, even synthetic grief relief. All delivered through data pulses, not human experience. This is not to say the technology has no use. For individuals with paralysis, trauma, or sexual dysfunction, neural stimulation could offer healing. But healing becomes harm when the tool becomes the norm, and the line between medicine and lifestyle is already being blurred. So where does this go? In the next decade, we'll likely see consumer-grade devices capable of triggering orgasmic stimulation via non-invasive methods. Subscription models will follow. There will be apps. There will be influencers reviewing neural pleasure headsets. Some users will experience liberation. Others will fall into neurological addiction, chasing high after high. And in the process, we may lose something sacred. The body is not a burden. It's a temple. It's a mirror for the soul. And when you bypass the body to reach pleasure, you don't just upgrade the experience. You unanchor it. You make it mechanical, disposable. And in doing so, you weaken the very thing that makes human intimacy holy: presence. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future, Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems, The Behavioral Economy Now Governs Access. 4. Hive Mind, Synthetic Telepathy and Collective Algorithmic Control. 5. Nanobots Inside You, Medical, Military, and Programmable Intrusions. 6. Grief Tech, AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading Your Mind, Consciousness Transfer and Data-Based Identity. 8. Deep Fakes plus AI Clones, The Replication of Reality and Identity Theft. 9. Quantum Humans, The Merger of Biology with Quantum Systems. 10. Digital Afterlife, Where Your Data Goes When You Die. 11. Resurrection Science, Reviving Life Through Synthetic Methods. 12. Immortal Science, The End of Death as We Know It. 13. Longevity Science, Gene Editing, Anti-Aging, and Bio-Upgrades. 14. Designer Babies, Engineered Perfection Before Birth. 15. Artificial Wombs, Birth Decoupled from the Female Body. 16. 3D Printing, Printing Organs, Limbs, and even humans. 17. The Humanoid Era, The Rise of Synthetic Beings Among Us. 18. Legacy Humans, The Slow Phase-Out of Unmodified Analog People. 19. Smart Cities, Algorithmic Environments That Watch and Decide. 20. Cloud-Based Societies, Citizenship Without Borders or Bodies. 21. Hackable Humans, Emotion, Memory, and Behavior Under Code. 22. Biometric Scanning, Your Body is Your Password and Your Prison. 23. Sex Tech, Intimacy Reprogrammed by Machines. 24. Extinction of Gender, Fluidity, Deletion, and Design of Identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.